The word sorry is the most frequently spoken word in some people's vocabulary. More than yes, more than no, more than their own name, they say it when they bump into a table, when someone else steps on their foot, when they ask a question, when they have an opinion, when they enter a room, when they exist in a space that contains other people. And every single time, the apology is automatic, launched before the conscious mind has evaluated whether anything happened that requires one. This is not politeness. Politeness is a choice. This is a reflex, and the reflex has a name that most psychology channels never mention. It is called the fawn response, and it is the fourth trauma response that changes everything about how chronic apologizing should be understood. On Monday, the brain was struggling with missing data on a phone call. Today, filling every silence with apologies. Different output. Related circuitry. The brain that cannot tolerate ambiguity on a phone call and the brain that preemptively apologizes to prevent conflict are both running the same deeper operation. Threat reduction through behavioral adaptation. The mechanism behind the apology is where the similarity ends. Most people know 3 trauma responses: fight, flight, freeze. The fourth, fawn, was described by psychotherapist Pete Walker in his work on complex PTSD and formalized in his 2013 book. The fawn response is an appeasement strategy. When a child grows up in an environment where the caregiver is unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes threatening, sometimes absent, the brain learns that the safest position is compliance. Not resistance, not escape, not shutdown. Agreement, softness. Making yourself useful, agreeable. Invisible to conflict. The child who learns to read the mood of an unstable parent and adjust their behavior before the mood becomes dangerous is running a fawn protocol, and apologizing is one of its primary outputs. Sorry is not a social nicety in this context. It is a preemptive signal: I am not a threat. Please do not escalate. I will make this easier for you. The child did not choose this strategy. The brain installed it because, in that environment, it worked. The problem is that the installation does not come with an expiration date. Frans de Waal, studying appeasement behavior in primates, documented a remarkably similar mechanism across species. Lower status primates in unstable hierarchies develop ritualized submission gestures, postures, vocalizations and behaviors designed to signal non-threat to dominant individuals before conflict emerges. The gesture is not about genuine deference, it is about survival arithmetic. The brain calculates. The cost of apologizing when it is unnecessary is low, a small expenditure of social currency. The cost of not apologizing when it is necessary is catastrophically high, confrontation, rejection, punishment. When the stakes are asymmetric, the calculation favors constant output. Apologize by default, absorb the small cost every time, because the one time the apology is needed and missing could trigger the exact consequence the entire system was built to prevent. The human fawn response runs the same logic. It is not emotional, it is computational, and it executes so fast that the word sorry has already been spoken before the prefrontal cortex has finished evaluating whether anything actually went wrong. This is where the body tells the truth that the word sorry tries to hide. Dickerson and Kemeny, in a 2004 meta-analysis of over 200 studies on cortisol and social behavior, found that situations involving social evaluative threat, moments where a person's status or acceptance is uncertain, produce the strongest cortisol responses. For someone running a fawn pattern, every social interaction contains social evaluative threat. Every room is scanned for displeasure. Every facial expression is read for signs of withdrawal, and every apology is an attempt to reset the cortisol before it peaks. The sorry is not directed at the other person. It is directed at the adrenal system. It is the brain telling the body, I have signaled submission. The threat should decrease now. Stand down. The temporary cortisol drop reinforces the behavior. The brain learns. Apologizing reduces the stress signal. Apologize more. Apologize faster. Apologize before anything has happened. The loop tightens with each cycle. The distinction that matters, and that most conversations about over-apologizing miss, is between courtesy and fawning. Genuine courtesy is context appropriate. A person bumps into someone, says sorry, moves on. The apology matches the event, there is no residual anxiety. No scanning for the other person's reaction to confirm that the apology was accepted. The body returns to baseline quickly. Fawn-based apologizing looks different on the inside even when it looks identical on the outside. The apology is disproportionate to the event, or there is no event at all. The person apologizes for asking a question, for taking up space, for having a need. And after the apology, the body does not return to baseline. It continues scanning. Did that land? Are they still upset? Should I apologize again? The monitoring system stays active because the original threat, the unpredictable caregiver, trained it to never fully stand down. Courtesy is a transaction, fawning is a surveillance operation. Harriet Braiker in The Disease to Please mapped the downstream cost of this pattern across adult relationships. Chronic fawners lose track of their own preferences, not because they lack preferences, but because the system that was supposed to monitor internal needs was repurposed in childhood to monitor external threats. The operating system is still running, but the task it performs has been reassigned. They absorb other people's emotions and mistake them for their own. They build relationships structured entirely around the other person's needs, because that is what the architecture rewards. The partner feels cared for, the friend feels supported, and the person doing the caring feels hollow, because the care was never voluntary. It was an output of a system designed to maintain safety, not to express love. The difference is invisible to the recipient. It is not invisible to the person producing it. They feel it as exhaustion that sleep does not fix, as resentment that has no obvious source, as a persistent sense of always giving and never receiving, not because others are selfish, but because the fawn system never allocated bandwidth for receiving. The person is not generous. The person is occupied, one tool, 24 hours, the apology audit. For one full day, every time the word sorry leaves the mouth or enters a text message, write it down, not to judge it, to map it. After 24 hours, review the list. For each entry, one question. Did something happen that required an apology? If yes, that is courtesy. Keep it. If no, mark it. Those marks are not evidence of being too kind. They are data points showing where the fawn circuit is still running. The pattern does not require a therapist to see, it requires a day of honest observation. And for most people who try this, the number is higher than they expect because the reflex operates below the threshold of conscious awareness. Counting it does not fix it, but counting it makes the invisible visible. And visibility is where the fawn response starts losing its grip. Every sorry has a question behind it. Sometimes the question is, did I cause harm? And the apology is the repair. Sometimes the question is, am I safe here? And the apology is the shield. The words are identical. The circuit is not. On Friday, people whose brains refuse to let them sleep without background noise running. The mechanism behind that has nothing to do with fear of the dark. It is about what happens when the internal narrator has no competition.